Good evening and a warm welcome. This is CNN News 18 and you're watching Plain Speak with me, Grihato Siddiqui. Now remember, this picture that I'm about to play on the wall over here, that Rahul Gandhi in fact had tweeted in 2018. There he is, flanked by two of his best men in Rajasthan. And the caption that he had put out this picture with read, "The United Colours of Rajasthan." Well, looks like the unity didn't last all that long, because defying the Congress's diktat, which said that this protest that he is going to undertake is against the party's interest, as also an anti-party activity, the former Rajasthan Deputy Chief Minister Sachin Pilot sat on a day-long dharna in Jaipur today, demanding action in corruption cases during Vasundhara Raje's tenure as the Chief Minister of Rajasthan. Now, today's protest, remember, follows Pilot's Sunday press conference where he had accused the Rajasthan Chief Minister Ashok Gehlot of colluding with Raje, as the Chief Minister had failed to take any action against the latter in the graft cases. Now, the Gehlot-Pilot friction isn't new, and unless the party high command has ordered of forced close, never have the twain met. Be it the ticket distribution before the 2018 polls, to the Chief Minister, ministerial posts later, to portfolios, to the unchecked defiance. The saga of Rajasthan Congress's unresolved tussle continues. And the fact that today it clashed with an important day for the Congress and Rahul Gandhi, as he returned to the erstwhile constituency of his Wayanad and had the headlines clearly divided, as opposed to where the Congress would have wanted the eyeballs to be at, was indeed a conundrum that Congress would rather not be. Now, sharing of that limelight later was interestingly avoided, with Sachin Pilot bringing curtains down on his fast the moment the Rahul Gandhi arrival at Wayanad was announced. Now, whether it was Priyanka Gandhi and her phone call to Pilot that had something to do with it, with that on-cue move, we still have the jury out on that one. But here's all that happened in Rajasthan's capital today. So while on the hunger strike, Sachin Pilot slammed Ashok Gehlot government. Here's all that he's said. Now, Pilot alleged that the Chief Minister is hand in glove with the former Rajasthan Chief Minister and BJP leader, the then Chief Minister of Rajasthan Vasundhara Raje. Pilot also claimed that Gehlot government is not taking any action against the BJP's Vasundhara Raje. He later also added that he was on this hunger strike against Gehlot government's inaction, and Pilot demanded action on the corruption cases against Vasundhara Raje. Meanwhile, while all this was happening, when this hunger strike was something that that Sachin Pilot was undertaking, what did Gehlot do? Well, he released a 10-minute long video as a part of the massive outreach program ahead of the assembly elections in Rajasthan. In that video, Gehlot is speaking about his government's welfare schemes. Sources also suggest that the timing of today's video was a deliberate way of saying that he will set his own agenda and not fall into Pilot's trap by responding to him. Now, let's now look at what is it that this battleground Rajasthan is really looking at. What is it that is the plan at play for both Sachin Pilot and Ashok Gehlot? If we look at Sachin Pilot, well, he is choosing to demonstrate strength, and this he is choosing to do by mobilizing maximum workers. On the other hand, Ashok Gehlot is trying to keep an eye on Pilot's hunger strike and responses that it is receiving. You can see the kind of response that it has received on ground, with maximum worker and cadre presence, all of them supporting and shouting, "I love you, Sachin Pilot." All of that was reported out of Jaipur today. What is the goal, the end goal that Sachin Pilot is looking at? Exert maximum pressure on the leadership to make him the chief ministerial face as far as the state of Rajasthan is concerned. Gehlot, on the other hand, is going to try to convince the party high command that Pilot is a traitor, something that he has worded earlier also in the past. The fallout of all of these actions, what can that be? If the demands of Sachin Pilot is not met, then he may consider leaving the Congress. Another young face and exodus from the Congress party, that could be a big worry for the Congress if at all this happens. On the other hand, Pilot's rebellion may affect party's Gurjar vote share, which is commanded by Ashok Gehlot. So all of that is something that we are putting together for you. Now, this is something that happened while Sachin Pilot was on that hunger strike. when he began that hunger strike, there was a sort of a diktat that was given to him. And this came from Rajasthan Congress in charge, Sukhjinder Singh Randhawa, and he had also warned Sachin Pilot before he undertook that hunger strike against the Gehlot government. And here's what it said. Now, this fast by Sachin Pilot is an anti-party activity. Like I mentioned earlier, this was branded as anti-party, and it also said that any issues can be discussed within the party forums. They also further went on to assert that such issues shouldn't be discussed in media or in the public glare. Sachin Pilot also never discussed these issues with me. That's what Mr. Randhawa said. And he also appealed for a calm dialogue, and he also said that Pilot is Congress's asset. So the question we are asking today, that Sachin Pilot is on this hunger strike. He's of course called it off after the day-long hunger strike. But is this Pilot-Gehlot feud going to cost the Congress party another state, that is Rajasthan?
सरकार में तमाम जो भ्रष्टाचार हुआ, करप्शन हुआ, उसके विरोध में आज एक दिन का मैंने अनशन रखा था और इस मुद्दे को मैं बहुत लंबे समय से उठा रहा था।
इसके बारे में हमने राजस्थान के जो प्रभारी महासचिव हैं उनसे कहा है, राजस्थान का प्रश्न राजस्थान के प्रभारी महासचिव से पूछेंगे तो सही रहेगा।
आदमी भी बैठता है अनशन पे, तो ये तो अपना अधिकार, वो पूर्व सेंटर मिनिस्टर रहे, प्रदेश अध्यक्ष रहे, हमारे डिप्टी सीएम रहे, तो चीज उठा रहे हैं तो कोई चीज तथ्य होगा तो ही उठा रहे हैं। अशोक गहलोत जब सीएम रहे कभी भ्रष्टाचार के आरोप नहीं लगे।
राजस्थान में कांग्रेस के नेताओं ने आपस में लड़कर प्रदेश का बहुत नुकसान किया, जनता का बहुत नुकसान किया। केंद्र की योजनाएं भी जनता तक नहीं पहुंची क्योंकि सरकार पूरे 5 साल से आपस में लड़ रही है।
Joining me on the broadcast this evening, Shazia Ilmi of the BJP, Rashid Kidwai, who's an author and senior journalist. Also, another senior journalist, Sabah Naqvi, is joining us. And Arun Anand, who's the consulting editor of First Post, is with us. Now, since Congress party has refused to come to the debate, we have Rashid Kidwai. Rashid, I would begin with asking you, is this a tirade against corruption as is being claimed by Sachin Pilot, or an assertion that make me the Chief Minister of Rajasthan?
Well, I think the tussle in Rajasthan, the internal tussle in Congress in Rajasthan is reaching its climax. This is a kind of final act that is coming. Repeatedly, the Congress High Command gave certain assurances to Sachin Pilot that have not been fulfilled. The Congress High Command, it seems, is not in a position to assert itself. But Pilot's grudge is not so much against Ashok Gehlot, because he and Ashok Gehlot never got along. Pilot seems to be revolting against the Congress leadership. Okay. The leadership consists of two kind of pillars. One is, of course, the established leadership, that is Mallikarjun Kharge, who's maintaining silence, though he's a Congress president. He has been the AICC observer for Rajasthan. And the other, the three Gandhis. One of them, as you were saying, that Priyanka Gandhi has spoken, but spoken to what effect? I think in the time to come we will get to know.
Okay. Well, it did look like it was pretty much in sync, Rashid, because the moment the Gandhis arrived in Wayanad is when Sachin Pilot got up from his fast.
Yeah, so I think Mr. Pilot leaves no opportunity to project himself as a, Nehru Gandhi family wala, in the sense that he would obey by them, he stands by them. His sense of association, as I said, is not so much with Ashok Gehlot, not with Mallikarjun Kharge, but the reference point is Gandhis, and in particular Priyanka Gandhi. Now the question is, what can she do? Can she assert herself? That is something we'll get to know in a week's time, 10 days time or so. Okay. But I think by doing this hunger strike, Mr. Pilot has put the Congress central leadership on some kind of notice.
All right. Shazia, let me bring you in on this. The fact that we were talking about divided headlines of the Congress party, a day when Rahul Gandhi is choosing to return to Wayanad is the day that's been chosen by Sachin Pilot to go ahead, undertake this hunger strike. That, of course, is not going to be going down well with the Congress party. But do you think they managed to clearly avoid that clash with the moment they arrived? Sachin Pilot just called off that strike. He went back. And that sort of fission line that could have further dented the Congress was clearly avoided?
Well, I don't know. I think it's for everybody to judge who's watching the situation as to what has been going on in Rajasthan. And not just now, as this is really the inflection point because we have the elections around the corner. The fact of the matter is that when you look at fractures within and the big gaps that are there in leadership and the tussle amongst the top two, this is all too obvious. We know what happened in Punjab, that how unceremoniously the former Punjab CM, Captain Amrinder, just before the elections was thrown out, and then there was a fight for like who's going to take the place. And this happened in many Congress states, and it's not new that there is a big mismanagement when it comes to state leadership, one. Two, handling disagreements, dissonance, in a civil manner, in a manner that cadres can digest and also can satisfy the warring factions within, and also credibility when it comes to having a stay in the decision-making powers of the party when it comes to the top command. So would anybody trust the abilities of a Rahul Gandhi or a Mallikarjun Kharge in the scheme of things? We just heard Rashid Kidwai Saab tell us clearly that can Priyanka do something? Will she do something? So there are too many ifs and buts here, which really shows a complete lack of
I really want to understand BJP's perspective on this, Shazia, and it will be interesting to actually, because he is asking for an investigation on graft charges against your own party member, Ms. Raje. Now, do you support the tirade that he is going ahead and doing, considering obviously it has a BJP member in question, and on the other hand, it also speaks about the fissures that Rajasthan Congress is dealing with?
Well, the fact of the matter is that BJP does not and cannot have a perspective on the internal factions and with the cause that Sachin Pilot seems to espouse, which is against corruption. Now, but he is also, when he speaks against Vasundhara Raje government, he also speaks of a collusion with the former regime. And when he talks about the collusion and complicity, he also talks about his own party member and the party chief and the head and the current CM, which is Ashok Gehlot. So it is being seen that Ashok Gehlot, in fact, is being accused of by Sachin Pilot of being in cahoots with the former government and CM Vasundhara Raje, yes, a member.
But still, the BJP can't have it both ways. If there is a corruption allegation against a member of the BJP, that needs to be looked at. Sabha, how do you see this being played out? In Rajasthan, this has been a worry for the Congress party, and the fact that Sachin Pilot decided to do it today. And he, of course, has spoken about how he is doing it on the day where there is a national holiday that's been declared in the state of Rajasthan over a social reformer, and he's used that as the backdrop. How do you see this posturing really by Sachin Pilot?
So I think Sachin is desperate and he's very, very frustrated. But I fail to understand the end game here. I'll be very honest. I made a call to him in the morning just before he was starting the protest. And he said, no, I'm raising it, as Shazia Elmi has said. He said it's about the collusion and corruption. And I have a right as a Congress person to do so. He does. But politics is indeed about timing. It is about the optics. And there is a point here. Rahul Gandhi has stepped out after this time. He's gone to Wayanad. There is a crucial election for the Congress going on in Karnataka. And we get another image of Congress dissonance. If you look at it analytically, the problem here is that the so-called high command, which is the Gandhi family, Rahul and Priyanka, and in this case, reportedly more Priyanka, as my colleague Rashid Kidwai has said, they did promise Sachin the chief ministership, and they did try to give it to him. But Ashok Gehlot did not listen to them. That is what happened. So we have a situation in the Congress where the national leadership is weak. and people do not listen to them. That is the truth. It is not a political rhetorical critique. That is indeed a fact. They could not handle the situation in Punjab. They could not get Ashok Gehlot, who was considered a family loyalist, to go smoothly and to come to Delhi and become the Congress president, which was the first choice. Mallikarjun Kharge was the second option. After he flatly refused Ashok Gehlot. Now the situation in Rajasthan is this, that Mr. Gehlot, Sachin Pilot was an energetic campaigner. He had a role to play in the campaign in bringing the Congress back there. He was promised something, but Mr. Gehlot blocked him at every step, whatever his skills are. Right now, Mr. Gehlot is getting kudos by a section of those who support this scheme for the right to health. And, he is in a position to present himself as having a social concerns and the old Congress conversations around social groups and, Manrega and working for the poor and so on and so forth. That is his positioning right now. And Sachin Pilot has probably realized that there is no future. Now, hypothetically, if the Congress loses the election, which will take place later this year, is he positioning for himself in that post-loss scenario? Is it an end for Gehlot, who also has a son, by the way? People with sons is an issue in politics, which is also playing out in the Karnataka list issue of the BJP releasing their candidate list, who also has a son, who has a who he would like to give him a political future. The other option, which is hard for people to believe, but it cannot be ruled out because of the timing, is Sachin looking for a way out. But, because smaller regional parties do have a role to play, and Rajasthan has your Hanuman Beniwal and it has a few independents and all who get elected. It's not a completely bipolar. But predominantly, there are small. Is that the direction in which it's going? There are reports. I know this for a fact that Aam Aadmi Party has reached out to him.
Yes.
Even BSP, definitely Hanuman Beniwal will reach out to him.
Yes.
But the point is, he goes on saying he wants to be a congressman. He still wants that promise that he will be the chief minister. Is he looking for a post-defeat? Next term, after 5 years, then you try for the
you mentioned the exodus part of it. We will touch upon that in just a bit. But I would want to understand this Aam Aadmi Party and AIMIM, just venturing into this entire Rajasthan controversy. They have gone on and openly supported. We have seen Asaduddin Owaisi respond to what this hunger strike is all about and how Sachin Pilot is pretty much in the right. And Arun, I want your response on this. With these important opposition parties really throwing in their weight behind this protest by Sachin Pilot, we had that scenario where all the opposition parties were rallying behind Rahul Gandhi after his disqualification. What happens to that opposition unity now, in this case, where there is feuding within the entire Congress party when it is about Rajasthan?
See, the opposition unity was an idea which actually has failed to take off. It actually was never supposed to take off, given the internal dynamics of the Indian politics. But the important fact is, what you are looking, as far as Aam Aadmi Party or AIMIM or any other party of BSP is concerned, I think they are just trying to wade into these troubled waters and try to take some advantage of it. But Sachin Pilot, I would kind of agree with my co-panelist who was just talking about it. I think what Sachin Pilot has done by picking up Vasundhara Raje Scindia as a target, he has kind of ensured, or he has given an indication that he is not going to join the BJP even if he leaves Congress, especially with Rajasthan election being on anvil. Second, so the only option with which he is left is that he forms his own regional party. But the larger question is, what you are looking at in Rajasthan is actually the symptom of a deeper disease which is affecting Congress. The deeper disease is that the party is bereft of any ideology, party program and cadres. That is why the central leadership is becoming very weak, especially when you have to sit in a position for too long. So this is what happens when you are bereft of any ideology. And I think this is a lesson which all the political parties need to learn, that you cannot always be absolutely 100% election oriented. It has to be, you have to be an ideology driven party. This happened with socialists and Loyites in 60s and 70s also. This is happening with Congress right now. So what you are looking at is unfolding of the consequences of losing, the ideological moorings of a party.
Okay, Rashid, I'd bring you in over here. Sabha mentioned that point about the exodus. If we actually talk about it and look at it seriously, in order to appease the old guard, in this case Mr. Gehlot, is the Congress party really losing out on its young leaders? We've already seen Scindia going on to the BJP. Now it is time, there are already talks of whether Sachin Pilot is going to be remaining in the Congress party or is going to see differently. That question is now plaguing the party. Can the Congress really afford it?
Look, you see, the dissent is very much part and parcel of politics. You look at BJP in Karnataka, you look at BJP in Uttar Pradesh, but they know how to, deal with such crisis. And they have handled it. They changed the Chief Minister of Karnataka. They did some kind of political surgery before the assembly elections in Uttar Pradesh, and they've been very successful. So that's where the quality of leadership comes in, and that's where I think the Gandhis are lacking that. They are not very decisive. They are just doing, they say that they're giving homeopathy treatment when surgery is required. So over 50 leaders I have counted since 2014, 50 leaders of consequences have left. Now, in Pilot's case, the only redeeming feature from the Congress point of view is that he is not looking for life outside Congress at this point of time. All these things about Aam Aadmi Party and regional party and all is kite flying. He wants to be the state Congress president. He knows that, he can't, Gehlot cannot be, logistically cannot be dislodged at this point of time. He wants to be PCC chief so that he has a say in the ticket distribution, in the assembly election that Arun is talking about, going to take place in November 2023. Whether the Congress can concede that kind of space to him, whether they can strike, I think, because Vasundhara, I again repeat, Vasundhara is a pretext. Gehlot is a target. So what he's saying about Vasundhara ji is just a, eyewash. He's actually targeting Ashok Gehlot, and he wants to force central leadership's hands to decide and make him the state Congress president at least.
So has he managed to cloak it well? My question to you, Sabab, the point that Rashid is making, I'd want you to take on from that very point. Has he managed to cloak it well? Of course, the ambition is the chief ministerialship of Rajasthan, but clearly, like you mentioned, he's desperate. Do you see that happening? Do you see the arm twisting really working with the Congress in the long run, considering his equation with the Gandhis?
I actually don't, because the timing is all wrong. And, when, there's a saying that when he's had too many, I like Sachin, everybody likes Sachin, a lot of the Delhi media, works hard, his ambitions are very valid, he has every right. But the catch is that when you carry on making such scenes in public life, then in the long term, does it work for you? So I have those doubts. I don't think that in an election year, look, the Congress has such few states. And the one thing about Mr. Gehlot, which is, I must tell you, is that even though he annoyed the family last year when he refused to step aside smoothly for Sachin, he lays it out for when Rahul or Priyanka and all have to go somewhere. Jaipur gets lit up with all these posters and all so on and so forth. So I don't see them. Plus, I think my fellow panelists from First Post made a point about ideology. I, in fact, think the Congress is trying to project an ideology. We can disagree with it. And I think a lot of the schemes that Gehlot is talking about play into that ideology. The ideology that they believe worked for them was the ideology of UPA 1, the first term ideology, when they had schemes like Manrega, right to food, so on and so forth. And the right to health, you may disagree with it. There's a middle class skepticism about such things, but they are trying. Gehlot is. So, in fact, Gehlot is showing the ideological face right now.
Okay.
So Sachin, with all his strengths and all, it is a story of personal ambition right now. It is bad timing for the Congress because the Karnataka election is absolutely crucial, So right now, I don't think that they will, maybe some bargaining can be struck because it would be a mistake for them to lose Sachin.
It's interesting that you say that, Sabha, because we just heard Sachin Pilot respond to the media men who were assembled at his protest site, and He did mention how the Congress stands for zero tolerance. We are going into elections in another 6 months. It cannot be a party that chooses to know about corruption and not having to do anything about it. Don't you think all of those statements are going to be cutting any ice with the voters or with the top brass? Is it not really in line with the party as opposed to what Mr. Gehlot is really doing?
But you think about it, he is saying that the chief minister of the party in power is as corrupt as the former chief minister. So there is a problem, no? By targeting Gehlot openly, not even surreptitiously. He's undermining the person with whom they'll go into the next election.
Okay.
So he has created a problem there.
All right,
So
Shasha, let me bring you in here. We were talking about how there is a lot of clout that Sachin Pilot commands in Rajasthan. He is desperate. I'm again using the words that Sabha used. If at all there is a chance, because Aam Aadmi Party, another opposition party, has already said that it is going to be making a serious bid in Rajasthan. If the opportunity so arises, will the BJP be open to welcoming Sachin Pilot into its fold?
Well, I don't think Sachin has shown any interest whatsoever in joining the BJP. And he has stirred up the hornet's nest, and not for the first time, by casting aspersions on the leadership of Ashok Gehlot, and it has been done quite openly. But when it comes to talks of personal ambition, while a lot of people want the story not to go out and continue to speak against the BJP or work and ensure that BJP does not get any foothold or advantage over this issue, would want to call out Sachin over this personal ambition. But it is from Sachin Pilot's point of view, or any leader's point of view, it could be one person's personal ambition as opposed to the other.
Okay.
So you can't second guess motives.
Okay, so let me rephrase it. So what you see happening in Rajasthan
is that he does not want to join the BJP.
Okay, so what you see happening in Rajasthan is the BJP really seeing opportunity. Do you think that is going to be a major deterrent for the Congress party in the upcoming elections? And do you think BJP is going to get the advantage out of the situation that's currently, you can see, being played out in Rajasthan?
Well, this cannot be the only reason why BJP, I see, having a clear advantage in Rajasthan. Because the fight that is all out for everybody to see has been there.
Yeah.
Whether in a overt manner now or a covert manner, and many times earlier, explicitly so out in the open. So you can't, if you can't hide all the dirt under the carpet, right? It is going to stink sooner or later. So if you hide it for some time, there would be stench. But now the carpet is being pulled over and people can see it. So that is the only difference. And personal ambition of Sachin is being compared with the personal ambition of Ashok Gehlot. So one cancels the other. And nobody is so holy in any party, either engaging in it or commenting on it to second guess.
Arun, a last question before I wrap up the debate to you. Do you think, had this particular event with Sachin Pilot going into a hunger strike not clashed with Rahul Gandhi's visit to Wayanad, it possibly would have been accommodated by the political party in any which way?
No, I don't think so. I think much water has flown, in the rivers of Rajasthan. After, the earlier feud between Ashok Gehlot and Sachin Pilot, it came out in open. The most significant thing is actually what Rashid Kidwai was saying. It's a direct attack on the Congress central leadership, because the Congress central leadership has specifically picked up the issue of corruption to target the BJP. And on that issue, Sachin Pilot is actually targeting basically the Congress leadership, that their own chief minister, who is a handpicked chief minister backed by Rahul Gandhi, and he is not able to deal with the corruption issue. So this is it's a very embarrassing thing for Congress leadership. So I would say I don't think that this is going to settle down very soon. And I guess, BJP is definitely going to get more advantage out of it. It's an advantage which BJP has not tried for, but it is going to anyway be
all right. It's interesting that you say that, Arun. And with that, I'd like to wrap up this particular debate. We have, of course, been talking about what ails the Congress party. I'd like to thank all my panelists for joining us this evening. Now let's talk about what ails the BJP.